Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so the LA Lakers played the Denver Nuggets tonight at 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern here in Los Angeles. And it's going to be a tough game as usual against the Nuggets. I have no doubt that no matter what's going on, the Nuggets are going to show up against the Lakers, and the Lakers are going to struggle against the Nuggets. These are two things that are constant over the last 2 years. Uh, well, the Nuggets are a team that's won three of their last five. They did lose the last one last night, a tournament game against the Dallas Mavericks, and it went down to the wire. It was every bit of a thriller as any game this whole season, if you ask me. I watched the highlights of that last night and really like what I saw from both teams. But ultimately, Dallas was able to get the victory there, for which um, is a big deal considering that it's tournament play. So the Nuggets, they've been without Jokic for the last couple of games. He did come back in the last one, had a massive triple double as usual. It's like he's never missed any games, but they did have him out for a couple of games, and they saw repetitive teams in that sequence. It was the highlights go back 5 games for me. I watched all the highlights from 5 games ago. It started with the Dallas Mavericks. They did get the victory there. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Jokic was still available for that game. Then they went into seeing, if I'm not mistaken, the next game they saw was the Pelicans in tournament play without Jokic, and I believe they lost that game, which was kind of like a Brandon Ingram masterclass. He was just really giving them all kinds of fits. No Jokic, so you give him a pass. Then they went into Memphis, and I believe they had to play 2 games in Memphis back to back. They won one and lost one. And the second one they played, I believe, was tournament play. The first one was not. I think they won the first one by a lot. I think Memphis only scored 90 points. Forgive me if I'm wrong. And then they lost the second one, which was tournament play. I think that's how that went. So yeah, no Jokic in either one of those games, so it was kind of difficult for them for about a 3-game stretch. But they did kind of split the series. They split the duo, I guess, of both the Dallas and the Memphis Grizzlies over the last 5 games. So seeing repetitive teams over and over again is something that every team is going through this year, not just us. And that's kind of what the schedule is being for them, just constantly seeing the same teams over and over again. So yeah, now we face them off in a second of a back-to-back, of course, and Jokic is likely to play. I don't think there's any reason why he wouldn't, given that he's been off with something other than an injury, family stuff, I guess, personal stuff, whatever the case. So that's kind of what the MO is. So I'm kind of glad that I watched the highlight between the first Mavericks game. I was thinking, Jokic is out there, so since I'm watching the highlights, we're probably going to deal with him without Jokic, but that ain't the case. We're actually dealing with him with Jokic, so that one was the most important one. Kyrie Irving went for over 40 points in that game. Jokic went for his usual massive triple-double, and they were able to get the victory there in a pretty close game, if I'm not mistaken. So, Dallas came back and got their revenge last night without Jokic. Actually, that's not last night. Was it last night? I'm so confused right now. Them seeing the same teams, but it was last night, I believe. That was the game they played against the Dallas Mavericks as well, to where they came back and got their revenge against Dallas. Or rather, Dallas came back and got their revenge against them. As you can see, extremely confusing, but nevertheless, that is what it was. And Jokic, you're dealing with multiple playmakers down there with the Denver Nuggets right now. That's essentially what I want people to understand. You got Jokic, Westbrook, and Jamal Murray that can go for double-digit assists at any given moment. Last night, Jamal Murray had 11 assists. He's really been playing well on this stretch. Him and Russell Westbrook have some good chemistry at this point. Russell tends to draw the defense in, putting pressure on the rim, and then kick it out to him, for which he can make those shots. So that's kind of what I've been seeing there. Russell's been hitting his 3-point shot for the most part. I think he had like 3 of them in the last game. So Russell's 3-point shot is falling this season in ways that it never did for us. Surprise! But that's just how that goes. Everybody clams up when they put on the purple and gold, man. But when they go to other teams particularly small markets, and they turn into Reggie Miller. So I'm sick of all of them, honestly. Every shooter we've ever had that left our team, I'm tired of you, because you hit shots for them and you can't hit shots for us. But whatever, man. That's what it is. Russell Westbrook's turned himself into a reliable three-point threat at this point. So playing off of him this season isn't the wisest thing in the world. We don't have to worry about Aaron Gordon. That's a really big deal. Aaron Gordon is not going to be down there to push around and get boards and dunk the ball and all types of other stuff that he does very well. But we do have to deal with Peyton Watson, who stepped in and has provided some of the same stuff and is even more of a shot blocking threat. So you got to look for the breakout of Peyton Watson. He's been great over the last couple of games. You also got to look out for Christian Braun, whom we talked about yesterday in a video, who's been one of the most consistent players statistically all season. Pretty much Groundhog Day every day. Big body who could play both sides of the floor. His three-point shot is beginning to fall. He's developing it, working on it. So, yeah, they're not a bad team. I do think that they've taken some steps back with their overall ceiling as it pertains to the team that they have. But, you know, they're getting – when Russell plays well, they tend to have production off of their bench that's pretty much better than our production off the bench. That's really what it is. They have a struggling bench to a degree when he's not playing well. But when he is, he gives them the production they need there. They've been using Julian Strawther off the bench, three-point shooter, a guy with some really nice upside off of their bench, projects to be a starter someday. Be aware of Julian Strawther, forward, who's going to be on the floor a lot for them, I believe, tonight. And, you know, you got to deal with Michael Porter. I mean, you can't leave out Michael Porter Jr., who's going to be playing a small forward position as usual. The one thing I know about Michael Porter is he's going to rebound the ball. He's definitely going to score. He's definitely going to shoot. He's one of the best catch-and-shoot players in the game. But when he goes against us, that 7-foot frame that he has really hurts us on the boards, man. And so as we're a team that hemorrhages offensive rebounds, this is a guy who's going to provide a lot of them. Now, we know the Denver Nuggets have the ability to go really, really high in extremes as it pertains to, for example, I think, if I'm not mistaken, against either it was the Pelicans or the Memphis Grizzlies, one of those tournament games, I think it might have been the Memphis game actually, both teams attempted over 100 shots from the field. I've seen games with the Denver Nuggets in previous years, where they've had over 75 points in the paint with Jokic. I remember one game, I think they had over 90, almost 100 points in the paint in one game randomly a couple years ago. This team has the ability to go way up with the extremes as it pertains to their production. There was a game where they had the offensive rebounding differential, I think in one of the Dallas games, was 19 for Dallas, 15 for the Nuggets. So they can hemorrhage offensive rebounds, which we can take advantage of. Paying attention to teams that really do that, because we tend to be good at offensive rebounds, giving ourselves second chance points. But of course, giving up offensive rebounds is something that we do on the defensive end, probably as bad as anybody in the entire NBA. So that's something that needs to be considered tonight with Jokic and Watson and Russell and all those guys. They're going to rebound the ball very well tonight. A good thing is we get Rui back, so we have some sides returning to our situation. And we're going to need them to crash the glass. The whole team is going to have to team rebound in order to have any success against the Denver Nuggets. So, yeah, that's a real area of concern for me, our rebounding, especially against this particular roster. They just have a bunch of guys that should likely win their matchup against us as rebounders. Of course, we have Anthony Davis, who's going to rebound like madman, but it doesn't translate to us being a good rebounding team, particularly on the defensive end, and that's very, very concerning going into tonight. So, of course, we're coming off the loss against the Orlando Magic, one of the toughest losses we've had this season. We just did not take care of the free throw line. And, we had to sit on that for a whole 24 hours, but now we have another game against one of our biggest foes, a team that we really struggled against. And after having a 6-game winning streak, we're threatened with a 2-game losing streak if we continued on the same path we've been against the Denver Nuggets. Jamal Murray, Porter, Jokic have had our number. We know that. They knocked us out of playoffs in the last 2 years. We know that. So, this is a big game, man. We gotta come in and play our best. I'm sure we're gonna be heightened in regards to that, but we can't let those demons enter our mind. We have an entirely new coach. We got a brand new, shiny new toys, I like to call him, in Dalton Connect And he looks like Kevin Durant out there when he's shooting like this. But that's what it really comes down to. We got to kind of turn our attention to utilizing him in a way that really showcases him, because he is the difference for us as it pertains to having that piece that we didn't have last year against this squad. They don't particularly defend the perimeter very well this year. They've lost KCP. They do have Christian Brown and Peyton Watson, who are heightened defensive players, but I don't think it's translated to them being that great defensively. They're middle of the pack this year, offensively and defensively, middle of the pack. So, like I said, they've taken some steps back, but not enough steps in the right direction to make it so that I feel all that confident going up against them. I still think they match up extremely well against us, and us not really against them. Jokic and AD is not a matchup we really like at all. AD has been on an MVP level this year, but Jokic has obviously been on the MVP level every year, and that is not any different right now. He's still putting up the best numbers imaginable every single night, and I expect for him to do that tonight off a back-to-back. Hopefully he's a little tired because he has been away from basketball for a couple of weeks. He did come back yesterday, play a lot of minutes in a close game. Hopefully tonight he's out of gas, but you just can't count on that wizard of a basketball player to not be amazing even when he's tired. His game is not predicated on being very fast. He's just a genius, and I expect for him to make plays, rebound the ball, use his big body to push people around, get easy buckets in the paint. He's a number one three-point shooter in the NBA this season. Believe it or not, Nikola Jokic is the highest percentage shooter in basketball today. Unbelievable how this dude is just like so great at so many things. But yeah, that's what's going on. So you got to guard him from behind the arc, and we cannot foul him. So it's going to be tough. I'm not going to lie to y'all. The Denver Nuggets are a tough matchup for the Lakers. We haven't made enough changes in our roster to really match up with them, and it would stand to the reason why we would lose tonight. But we'd love to win a regular season game against them, just like we'd love to win any playoff games against them. We did get one playoff game against them last year, and we were very excited about it, but we turned around and lost the series anyway. The games always go like this. We have the lead against the Nuggets for the first three quarters. It looks like we're winning, and then somehow in the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, we throw a game away. That's what it's been for 2 years. Regular season, playoffs, doesn't matter. We always have a lead against them. We always have a 10, 12-point lead against them. So don't get excited when you see one tonight. It's all about how you close the game against a team that, quite frankly, just closes better than us. With the continuity and the experience and the shooting ability and the playmaking ability of their players, they just tend to pick us apart every single time they see us. It doesn't matter what's going on. They always have our number, and I just am tired of that being the case. But when you have a Dalton Connect in place, maybe that changes the dynamic. Now they got to guard us differently. If we're doing things correctly, we have more spacing on the floor. So hopefully that translates, man. But the fact of the matter is, both teams haven't made many changes to their roster, so it's the same people going up against one another, and that lends itself to being something we concerned about here in LA. So that's really what it is, man. Russell Westbrook creates a dynamic that hopefully works in our favor. He tends to be inefficient in this building. We know that. You know, his confidence tends to wane when that purple and gold is the floor. And so hopefully that translates tonight. Obviously, he has a lot of help. His supporting cast is tremendous, NBA championship worthy. They could very easily just bench him and not deal with that if it comes to that. But he's also a guy who's come off of a triple-double just 2 games ago in Memphis. So, you know, got his 200 triple-double. Congratulations to him for reaching the milestone NBA record 203 triple-doubles. So, you know, if he goes off for a triple-double tonight, we did something wrong, in my opinion. But nevertheless, we do have to be aware of his rebounding prowess, the energy he provides, you know, rushing at the rim and ultimately creating kick-out opportunities for fantastic catch-and-shoot players. So, as you can see, I'm a bit stressed about this one. I just don't like seeing the Nuggets coming. As long as our team is constructed the way it is and theirs constructed that way, it's not a good bet. It's not a good bet. It never has been. So, I don't think much has changed there. And I just hope that J.J. Redick and Dalton Connect are the difference. That's the mainstays that have changed, and that's rather serious when you consider how different the plays we run are and how ultimately successful J.J. has been to start the season with our offense. We should create a lot more problems for Denver offensively than we have in the past, based on their defense taking some steps back and our offense getting a lot more intricate and more movement going on around it. But guys like Jamal Murray and Porter have so much confidence against the Lakers. It's Christian Brown has a lot of confidence against the Lakers. Obviously, Jokic has a lot of confidence on every basketball floor against anybody. And that's kind of what it is, man. You just know that they have a heightened level of advantage in the size department. And we just haven't had an answer for that. We have not addressed that in a way that allows for us to match up with them. Koloko comes in. He's going to try to, do his best he can. And hopefully he has a really heightened night tonight defensively. Rim protecting is really important. Obviously, Jokic's going to find ways to score and assist any damn way. But Koloko is a pretty smart player. That's what I've noticed about him. Tends to stay low when he needs to, tends to trek out to the three-point line when he needs to. He just seems to be a nice heady guy. So I like his presence on this team this year. Aggressiveness, man. It's going to require us to be aggressive. Russell Westbrook's coming with a certain level of aggression. Jamal Murray's coming with a certain level of aggression in a different way. We just got to know that's coming. Christian Brown should be explosive in the open court, just like Russell. That creates a tandem that's a little different than what we're used to against the Nuggets. In the fast break, they should be a little more lethal. So these type of things just need to be understood. They play at a fast pace this year with those guys. They can throw up a lot of shots, as already described. And, they're not a better team, but they still have enough to match up well against us. So that's really what it is. I don't know that the Nuggets are actually a better team than the Lakers this year. Overall, we have a better record than them. But I don't know that translates into matchups. So, that's really what it is, man. You're going up against Jokic. Jokic is playing the best ball as usual. It's not like he's topping what he's always done. This is just what you can expect from him. 30 points, 17 rebounds, 12 assists. He's the best player in basketball. I keep telling people that I think he's the best player in basketball. He's always the best bet for the MVP trophy. As long as they continue to use him the way that he is being used, he's going to out-efficiency and usage the entire field. That's really what it comes down to. He's too good from behind the arc and the free throw line, on top of all the other advantages that he has on everybody, just being bigger and smarter than most. So that's really what it comes down to. I just always think betting on Jokic is a very good decision for you. And so we're gonna have to play our best ball. We need Bron to play his best ball tonight. We're gonna need AD to, of course, continue playing the way he's been playing. And we're going to need Austin Reeves to make good decisions out there when he's playing aggressively, shooting the ball. Because if he's not efficient tonight, which he hasn't been pretty much all year, it's really going to take possessions away from us against a team that we can't afford to trade buckets with or have lost possessions to. We know the Nuggets are going to connect down the stretch of basketball games. They're going to be efficient. So can we? Because if we're missing free throws like we did against Orlando, we out of here just like we were against Orlando. And you cannot not execute down the stretch. That's really what it comes down to. We played the Nuggets a million times. We've lost the same damn game over and over and over and over again. And it always comes down to them just out-executing us down the stretch. Jamal Murray, Michael Porter, and Jokic making plays. And so that's what we need to keep from having happen tonight so that we don't lose our second straight home game after being undefeated at home. So this is a very big deal. It would be wonderful if we can win the season series against the Nuggets. I think it'll go a long way in our mental if we can find a way to do that. Well, we got to first win a game against the Nuggets. That's really what it comes down to. Can we get a regular season game against this damn team who's beating the hell out of us? Probably, I don't know what the streak is in the regular season, but it spans back several years. We beat them in the playoffs one game last playoffs. In the regular season, we ain't done nothing with this team in years. So that's the truth, man. I just hate seeing them come in because I know that as much confidence as the fans have in facing this team, this unit has not had a lot of confidence facing this team. But we have a very different situation with JJ coming in, totally different MO. This ain't Darvin Ham scheming against them, and hopefully that means that we'll have a better shot at imposing our will on this team. So that's really what it is, man. Your Lakers are going to be wearing their white weekend uniforms, and the Nuggets are going to be wearing their charcoal and yellow road unis. And I think the floor is going to be back to traditional floor after 2 days of alternate floors. So we're going to see our regular purple and gold floor that we've been seeing for years. And hopefully we get a win here, man. Hopefully we can really push this team to finally losing a regular season game against us for the first time in like 3 years, man. It's ridiculous. I hate the Nuggets at this point. Like it's bad. You know what I mean? Back in the day, I used to hate teams like Blazers and Utah. And, you know, I hated teams that used to have our number, and this team is no exception. Sacramento, I hated those teams when I was a kid. Now it's Denver, and it's not only because they beat us, but because they're disrespectful in doing so. You know, calling themselves Laker Daddy. I have a desire to see them lose games that we don't have anything to do with. And I was happy seeing them lose to Dallas last night. That's what it is for me at this point. So, you know, and I know Russell Westbrook signed with them just so he could beat us because he knows they have a streak against us, and he blames us for why he looked bad there. That's my theory. I don't know that to be true, but I think that's what it is. And so, and they brought him over there just for that same reason, just psychologically, you know, to tack one on against us. So hopefully it backfires on them. Hopefully everything works out in our favor so we can get them this year, you know. And if we see them in the playoffs, hopefully we have some success for a change. I would hate to be knocked out by the same team 3 years in a row. But, you know, it is what it is, man. They match up well against us. We do benefit from Gordon not being out there, but like I said, Peyton Watson is stepping into his own, so it's almost like Gordon's out there any damn way. So that's what I would tell people. Just be aware. Don't try laying the ball up over Peyton Watson. He's blocking shots, bro. He's a shot blocker in a real way. And more so than Jokic, believe it or not. So, you know, that's their rim protection, and he's good at it. So, yeah, man, that's what comes to mind, man. They got a lot of talent over there, but they're just not playing that great this season. They've been without Jokic for a little while, and even when he came back, they still lost to Dallas. But it's going to require us, a bad matchup for them, to find ways of not only guarding Jokic, but just strategizing in a way that gives us some type of advantage on the floor. And I think it starts with the high execution and efficiency of a player like Dalton Knecht. As long as we're continuing to do the same stuff we've always done against the Denver Nuggets, I have no reason to believe that we're going to beat them. But if we use something that we didn't have, which is that high efficiency shooter, that Klay Thompson-like shooter that we've come across, maybe, just maybe, it can be enough to help us execute better down the stretch against this team, or have a lead that they can't overcome. But, you know, we got to be smarter than we've been against the Nuggets. We can't be the way we've been and expect to win. So that's pretty much what it is, man. Thinking about the Nuggets gives me a real headache. It really does. The Lakers going up against this team is a headache. I'm tired of them. The day they break that team up is going to be a good day for me. That core has been the bane of our existence in this era, this Bron and AD era. That is our kryptonite. And if we're ever going to get over the hump against them, it's going to start tonight, man. So that's pretty much what I got to say. Go Lakers at all times. BDL44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.